Welcome back to the All-American Savage Show podcast. I am your host, John Burke, with my beautiful bearded husband here, Josh. Go ahead and just fade that music out there. How's the audio sounding? Appreciate everybody's feedback on this one. We've upgraded some things here. Want to make sure that the audio is sounding good. How we sound, guys, on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. It's a little quiet. Can we turn it up a little bit?
Sure.
Check 1 2 1 2. We've been field testing a lot of stuff here, and we're just trying to make sure that everything sounds good before we push forward with this. But hopefully that's good. We're getting some good feedback from. All right, good. Sounds good. We're good to push. All right, so welcome back to the All-American Savage Show podcast. Appreciate y'all being here today. We're doing it a little bit late. We've had a lot of business for Shell Shock CBD. We were in a meeting. Took a few hours. We did some team training, some educational stuff. So we appreciate y'all bearing with us. But yeah, big day yesterday. We had Congressman Crenshaw on.
It's good.
A lot of feedback on that one, like a lot of feedback, like holy shit.
Yikes.
You want to talk about like so much negativity, so many people just like, why don't you ask him this? Like I did ask him. I asked him a lot of things.
Give him a chance to
explain himself, yeah.
Yeah, explain himself.
And people took that as if like I'm taking his side on some of these things. Based upon the things he said in the past. Like I just wanted to interview him and hear what he has to say, see if he's changed any of his stances. And people didn't want to hear that. They were just kind of like, and the thing that really aggravated me, and I got to stop reading the goddamn comments on this shit because it's the same fucking thing. Like, what are his stances on red flag laws? Like, he literally said, I'm not supporting them. I'm actually introducing a bill that's going to try and limit that at federal and state level. So it's like, okay, cool. So he's changed his position, which I respect that. What he said in the past, I didn't agree with, but at least now he's changed his position in regards to red flag laws. I like that. That's exactly what we want. If a congressional representative changes their position, that's a good thing, especially if it's in line with the Constitution. But again, there's other things that I didn't agree with him on. But you know, that is what it is. And you know, I respect the fact that he even came on this thing. And I explained in the podcast, like if I have a guest on the show that you know I disagree with, I'm not going to attack him. I'm not going to disrespect them. They'll never come back.
Right.
So, but people took it as a fact of like guilt by association. And then there's a clip going around right now where a young girl is asking Congressman Crenshaw his thoughts on Jesus archetype, and he does not look good on this one. It is what it is. But people are tagging me as just kind of like, what do you want me to do about this? Like, I don't agree with him.
Yeah,
like, but you're trying to like say, well, he's your friend. It's like because I had him on the show, now I have to answer for everything that he says. Like, is he going to answer for that? This is how stupid people are. And I've tried to be respectful on a lot of things with people in the comments because I understand where they're coming from. I get that they're upset. It makes sense to me. You know, you have elected leaders that are not doing their jobs or, you know, they're kind of changing their stances on things. I get why people are upset. It's like, but stop focusing your anger on me. Like, Christ, like I agree with the majority of you on these things, but then you're tagging me on all these things like a little gotcha moment. It's like, I'm not defending them.
Right.
Like, I defend what I say. What I say, like, if you want to be mad at me for what I say. Don't be mad at me for somebody that I bring on and what they say. Like, I have no control over that. It's just the dumbest thing. And this is the other thing is like I asked people on like posts 2 days ago prior to Crenshaw coming on. I was like, what do you want me to ask him? And people instantly flooded the comments with their questions. Like, okay, cool. I'll go through and I'll ask the questions that I feel like I haven't asked him before. And this is the other part. It's kind of like, we'll ask him about 2A. It's like, I'm not asking that again. I asked him that 2 podcasts ago. If you didn't listen, you didn't listen. But I'm not going to bring a congressman on and then beat him like a dead horse. It's like, no, we've covered this. So, but we did ask him a lot of your questions, and he answered. And that's the thing that kind of aggravated me is I talk about it on Instagram. They post about it. Hey, the podcast is live. You can go listen. Ask him about the World Globalist Forum. Like, I did. Go listen to the podcast. He answers that. I'm not giving you the answer. Go fucking listen. But all these fucking idiots, I swear, go ask him this. I literally asked him that. Go ask him, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, Christ. It's like, look, if you're not going to fucking listen, shut the fuck up. Like, I get so fed up with that. So if you're listening to the podcast, you clearly listen. I appreciate that. But good Lord, people don't want to be updated. They don't want to be educated. Regardless of what he says, they're not even listening. So it's like, what's your stance on red flag laws? Well, if you listen to the podcast, he explains that.
Is he being primaried?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
He said in the podcast that he's at like an 80% approval rating in his district. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what he says. So, But, you know, there were things he said that I agree with. There's things he said that I disagree with. I don't think that $175,000 should be increased. He said, you know, basically that's a budget to essentially have rental play. You know, you and I talked about this as far as ownership in a place in D.C. and a place at home. It's like if you can't make $175,000 work, it's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, to me, that's the issue with government right now.
Yeah.
So they don't think $175,000 is enough money to make it work.
I could make $175,000.
Yeah,
work.
I mean, he
definitely
gets a stipend, and
yeah.
You know, they get their flights paid for to and from Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
and I didn't know that. I thought, well, I know they were giving a per diem.
I mean, that's good information.
I know they were giving a per diem, but at the same token, it's like, yeah, but you're still making $175,000 a year.
Yeah.
Plus whatever, you know. But I understand where it's coming from as far as the kids and shit like that. But even still, $175,000, you could rent an apartment there, or if you're crashing on your couch, I know that could be kind of screwed up. But even still, I don't know, man. I think $175,000, that's plenty as a congressional salary for starting. That's just starting.
That, and then the term limits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's a congressman now, let's say, you do, let's say 8 years is the max. Then you move on to another, go to the Senate. 8 years in the Senate. So if your ultimate goal is to be the president of the United States, and you want to work your way through these different levels of government, I mean, that's a way to do it. But nobody should be a career politician. You should be a millionaire by the time you leave. Like, that's not what the platform is for.
The one that he talked about as far as like setting myself up for success on the outside, it's kind of like, well, you don't go into public service with the intent of becoming a millionaire. Like, you just don't.
Yeah.
That's why it's called public service. You're serving the public. So
I'd rather see businessmen and women go in there and because they actually employ people. They actually pay taxes.
Yeah.
So they're just not, trying to make a career out of off of taxpayers.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
It's just reading the comments from Facebook to YouTube to Twitch, like, Jesus Christ. Like, you just talk about it. And here's the thing. I get why they're upset. I'm with you. Like, I'm of you. I get that. But Christ almighty, like, they're coming after me like, it really, just like these fucking congressional Karens, like, it really discredits your show when you bring on a turncoat. So then what's the opposing viewpoint on it? Do you want me to bring on people to have these conversations with that I agree wholeheartedly with?
Just an echo chamber?
Yeah. Do you want this to be an echo chamber podcast? Like, I don't understand where their mindset is on this. Well, I mean, I do. They're emotionally driven on this. And again, I understand that because I'm the same way. Like when we have people that are very passionate about what they believe in, you should be, emotionally charged, but not at the point where it overcomes your sensibility and ability to critically think. So again, I appreciate the congressman coming on. And, people are kind of like, would you treat other people that way? You're damn right. If AOC came on the podcast, I would not bring her on and be like, all right, listen here, you liberal cunt. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, dummy. Let me ask you a couple questions.
Come here, horse face. I'm not doing that. I'm going to treat them with respect. So as long as they're a guest on my show. Now, if I bring them as a guest on my show and they lash out at me, well, I'm going to return the favor. Well, I probably shouldn't, so that way I can remain in control. But you get where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things that, people didn't, I don't really... I don't know. I don't know. People are just so emotionally charged. I'm kind of like, why are you getting mad at me? Like, if you're mad at somebody, get mad at him for what he said or what he didn't say. I don't know. But why are you getting mad at me? But whatever. I mean, here's the thing. Like, if people want to get mad at me, I've given them more than enough content to be mad at me for. And I could understand that. But like this, like just having a conversation is guilt by association. This is like McCarthyism 101. Yeah. Oh my God, you were seen talking to him? You must be deep state. Like, shut the fuck up. And that was like, you sound like a rhino. I was like, that's impossible because I'm not a Republican. So it's not an insult. It's like, yeah, well, you're gay. It's like, I'm actually straight. That's not even an insult. Or calling like a gay guy, well, you're straight. Like, no, I'm gay. Like, you can't even accurately insult me. So
what?
It is what it is. But anyway, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for sharing it, first and foremost, man. Like, if you're getting something from this podcast, give it a share. Tell your friends. Help us out. Help us grow. And we are just, people are saying, John, turn the volume up if we can, from Pamela on YouTube. Appreciate the support. And, like, people on YouTube, like, Jesus Christ, like, I get that. Like, Twitch is a better community because we have people on Twitch that's just kind of like, I don't know. It just, every platform has its own, and it seems like to me like YouTube is just full of way more trolls. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I'm streaming on YouTube right now.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm streaming. I forgot to unclick those because normally we're only streaming on Twitch, but yeah, because we get a lot of stupid people on there. Just a lot of fucking stupid people. I mean, honestly, half of them I think are just genuinely retarded. I really do. Like the shit they comment. But anyway, all right, so let's get into it. This episode is brought to you, and I'm not saying that to all YouTube viewers. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying, and yes, that is a dildo candle in the back. That is a dildo candle. If I was doing the interview and I'm sitting there with Crenshaw and I'm just like, I look back at the streaming thing. I was like, oh, fuck, I got the dildo.
I left that big veiny penis
I got the big veiny freaking green dildo back there with a congressional member, and he shared the podcast. And I was like, oh, whatever.
Whoopsie.
Fuck it. I mean, it's still funny. So, but anyway, this day in history, ladies and gentlemen, post-World War I peace conference begins in Paris on January 18th of 1919 in Paris, France. Some of the most powerful people in the world meet to begin the long, complicated negotiations that would officially mark the end of the First World War. Leaders of the victorious Allied powers, France, Great Britain, and the United States, and Italy, would make most of the crucial decisions in Paris over the next 6 months. For most of the conference, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson struggled to support his idea of a peace without victory and make sure that Germany, the leader of the Central Powers and the major loser of the war, was not treated too harshly. On the other hand, Prime Ministers Georges Clemenceau of France and David Lloyd George of Britain argued that punishing Germany adequately and ensuring its weakness was the only way to justify immense costs of the war. In the end, Wilson compromised on the treatment of Germany in order to push through the creation of his pet project, an international peacekeeping organization called the League of Nations. That was also, I believe, wasn't that the Treaty of Versailles? I think the Treaty of Versailles was spawned from that one and essentially crippled Germany economically and militarily. Like they reduced their air force drastically. Like Germany, like just, you know, they were just reduced to nothing. And it was like, Jesus. Like, that's insane to me. Like, they had it coming. You tried to take over the world. I'm like, you're going to get freaking,
you might get,
you're going to get your pee-pee smacked. It's like, stop trying to freaking conquer nations, you bastards. So, but all right, let's get into it. You're here for the news, so let's give you the news, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, let me go ahead and transfer this over. Boom. Right now, Schumer tells Democrats reluctant to nuke filibuster, we are all going to go on record. This is what Schumer's pushing right now. So for those that don't know, or those that do, Chuck Schumer and the rest of Democrats are trying to nuke the filibuster because essentially they're saying that the filibuster is really doing a disservice to Democrats right now. It's one of the only things that's standing in the way of like them passing a lot of bills out there, especially in the Senate. And of course, you know, Democrats, if it's something that gets in their way, they want to change the rules of the game. They want to try and remove things such as that. So now it seems like Chuck Schumer, and this is funny, it's going to blow up in his face. Oh, yeah. He's basically trying to subtly threaten fellow Democrats, saying we are going to go on record, and if you don't vote in accordance with the party, he's basically positioning them to where if you don't toe the line of the DNC, you are going to be primaried by your own district. So this is just the way he's looking at it. The article is from Fox and says, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer Tuesday issued a stern warning to Republicans and Democrats, defenders of the filibusters, ahead of the upcoming votes on Democrats' election bills, saying, we are going to vote, we are going to go on the record. Schumer made the comments immediately after opening the floor debate on a piece of legislation the House passed last week, combining two major Democrat-backed election bills. He promised that the Senate will not only vote on the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act, but also on whether to defang the Senate's 60-vote filibuster if Republicans block them, as they are expected to. And again, all Schumer is trying to do here is change the rules of the game. He's basically trying to make it favor Democrats. And that is ridiculous to me. You are trying to change the game to fit your narrative to where it's basically it's leaning more in favor of you. It's kind of like, what the hell are you doing? You are trying to circumvent the reasoning behind why Congress there and exists. This is nothing new. Democrats have done this repeatedly.
You could do Chuck Schumer debating Chuck Schumer on this issue.
Yeah.
Because they've been in favor for it. They've been in favor against it.
Well, that's the other thing is like they're in favor for it, but they also utilize it. Yeah. They utilize the very same tactic that that they're wanting to remove, which doesn't make sense to me. So if this tactic is so bad, why are you using it? Hey, murder's bad. And then you turn around and you murder people. Like what? Like you're kind of hypocritical in this. So Schumer made the comments immediately after opening the floor to blah, blah, blah. As we debate these measures, the Senate will confront the critical question, shall the members of this chamber do what is necessary to pass these bills and bring them closer to the president's desk, Schumer said. And basically what he means there is just basically saying Republicans can't stop us. Mm-hmm. Whatever we want, we're going to try and push through. We're going to try and force it through. There should be no means for Republicans to try and block this. And again, this is also kind of like ridiculous because this is going to be something that favors Democrats if Republicans take control. So what Schumer's trying to do right now is change the rules, which in my mind, I think Schumer also knows come midterms, it's going to be a red wave, change the rules to favor Democrats and ram through as much as they can And then once it flip-flops, essentially you've just created more ability for Congress to not even function as a Congress anymore. It's just literally whoever's in control can push through anything.
Yeah.
So there are multiple different things they can put in there as far as trying to prevent tyranny by the majority. And that's why these Democrats like Schumer, these are so anti-constitutionalist pieces of shit. Just not good people here. So that's what's going on with Chuck Schumer. And here's the thing, like I think this is also Schumer's way, and I think it's going to backfire on him. I think because Schumer's going to try and like purge the DNC of anyone that's not going to, again, fall in line with their narrative. But at the same token, you've got Sinema and you've got Manchin that are basically like Democrats hate them. Mm-hmm. Like I'm seeing there was a congressional candidate out of Louisiana. I think we're going to get to it. I forget his name. And he's like smoking a doobie in his freaking ad campaign video. I was like, I like that. That's cool. That's funny.
Okay.
But basically, he referenced Sinema. He's like, we have Democrats like Sinema. Blah, blah, blah. So it's like they don't like them. Like Sinema and Manchin, like they hate them. And yeah.
Schumer's a perfect example of why we need term limits.
Yeah, Schumer's another career politician. And he knows the game. He knows the game.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, I think you could just point to him and be like, this is why.
Yeah.
He's a scumbag.
Yeah. I mean, Mitch McConnell, the rest of them.
Yeah.
McCain's.
Yeah. And Lindsey Graham's. And
Lindsey Graham flip-flops more than liberals do. Like, Lindsey Graham is anti-Trump. He's pro-Trump. And the thing that really bothers me
he's whatever's going to keep him elected.
Exactly. He's a populist. This guy is not a constitutional. He's a populist.
He's a politician.
Yeah, exactly.
A scumbag politician.
And that's where we're at. And, you know, Trump is too. Like, Trump is a populist. He's going to change his mind based upon what the majority want. You know, we were talking to Crenshaw about that yesterday, talking about, like, when you are elected to Congress, are you representing your constituency based upon what they as a collective want, or is it what you want, which is what you ran on, saying these? So, if I was to run for Congress, say, hey, to my voter base, like, this is what I believe in. Legalize weed, pro two-way, pro-constitution. If you send me to Washington, this is what I'm going to represent. This is what I'm going to vote for. These are my values. This is my principle. This is my perspective. These are my ideologies that I believe in. And I would be, you know, and that's why most politicians have a website saying, if you are interested in seeing what I represent and stand for, go to my website and read my stances on things like abortion, drug legalization, things such as that. So that way, when these issues come up, it's like, hey, I'm voting this way because this is what I told you I'm going to run on. And if you don't like that, don't vote for me. So I think something like that is just, you know, I think people fail, or these politicians fail to understand. It's like, you were elected to stand for what you believe in. So why don't you do that and stop being populists? Stand for what's right. Stand for what's constitutionally sound. And anything outside of that, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know, just support the Constitution is all I want. So right now in the news, Candace Owens. Like, oh my God. And this is from MSN.com. And essentially, Candace Owens is accused of mocking the dead after bragging about surviving COVID while unvaccinated. Oh my God. Candace Owens has been accused of disrespecting people who have died from COVID after she apologized to all the people who were upset that I am unvaccinated and somehow survived COVID. She's being facetious here. That's not mocking the dead.
Yeah.
This is MSN trying to drag her. Now, I don't really agree with, you know, some of the things Candace Owens has said, but good grief. That's not mocking the dead. That's mocking the science. That's mocking these cowards that are living in fear. That's all she's doing.
Mocking the science.
Yeah, the science. The commentary was followed by Miss Owens arguing that COVID was a disease with an approximate 98.87% survival rate for the individuals under the age of 65. I am shocked that I survived those odds, tweeted Miss Owens. Maybe I should buy a lottery ticket. She immediately came under attack for her remarks, which appeared to dismiss those 830,000 Americans who have died from COVID and their families. Okay.
Died from COVID?
From COVID or with COVID. Exactly. So all these numbers these Democrats continuously, you know, make up repeatedly.
Even
I'm going to here's the other thing.
Supreme Court Justice
Sotomayor, who was also come out and said, like, until Gorsuch wears a mask, I'm working remotely. Good. Like, just go away. Like, just go away. Like the same Supreme Court justice that said we have over 100,000 children in the hospital with COVID. It's like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
We need to.
And by the way, children impacted by COVID was 0.2%.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I told people this. CNN, I've got some articles from CNN on here. CNN is going more centrist now, and it's hilarious to watch. And we're going to get to it. But watch how CNN is going off the rails of just insanity. Far leftist movement to now they're swinging back more centralized. And it's like, you fucking hypocrites. No, stick to your narrative. I want you to go down with that ship, crash with that plane. The narrative that you spun, that you created, that you grandstanded and you banked on, you go down in flames with it. Yep. You don't get to change your mind because you push this so hard down people's throats. You should die with this. This should be ever attached to sin. And here's the thing, lady. If you listen to this, don't you ever let them forget where they stood when it mattered the most. CNN should be publicly humiliated, and that's why their ratings are garbage right now. But she immediately came under attack for her remarks, which appear to dismiss those 830,000 Americans. And again, the CDC director came out and said, oh, well, a lot of this had 4 or more comorbidities that they died from. So we can't give you an accurate number. So when these Democrat-run or these liberal-run MSN push these numbers are not accurate. So what they're saying is, well, we're speculating. Well, then you don't know. So therefore, your science is flawed. That's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. Your science is flawed. So the numbers they continuously quote, they're not accurate. And they don't know what the numbers actually are.
They're liars.
They're probably a whole lot less. Way less. Dozens also pointed out to death tolls from COVID. And here's the other, and I'm going to take a step further. Even if people are outraged by it, fuck them.
Yep.
Oh my God, they're mocking the dead. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Are you offended? Good, go be offended. Because she clearly wasn't. Mm-hmm. So it's like, good, be offended. I hope it triggers you into a just psychological meltdown. I hope it does. Because you deserve her being so stupid and mentally weak. I mean, this is one of those things like make bullying great again. Bring back bullying. We need it. It toughens up society. So if people would stop knee-jerk reacting by these people that are essentially or basically just manipulating what's being said, trigger them even more. Give them more content. Put them into a tailspin of emotion. Like, just really make them angry. Because what are you going to do? You're going to cancel me? Not if I don't let you. Suck my dick. I'm not changing. And I'm not going to apologize. It's not going to happen. Like, that's why I got a lot of respect for Dave Chappelle. We probably don't agree politically, but the fact that guy stands by his guns, I respect that. I like that. So it is a blessing that you are part of those that have survived the disease so far. Is it a disease or virus? It's a virus.
I think they call it both.
No. My thoughts are with the 5,557,000 people who didn't make it, tweeted South African news anchor Peter Ndoro. Really? You don't give a fuck about them. Stop. Did you go to any of the funerals? Did you donate to any cause? Like, shut the fuck up. I love how they always simp for like the altruistic, like, I'm clutching my pearls. You're just so disrespectful.
How many masks was he wearing when he said that
Exactly.
statement?
Shut the fuck up.
His head was probably covered in masks.
Yeah. And somebody also says on Twitter, and Twitter is just a freaking leftist echo chamber cesspool. I just love trolling people on Twitter. Sergeant Savage on there, by the way, if you want to follow me. Some douchebag says, Brock Toon says, very interesting. But you know who you don't hear a lot from? The people who died of COVID because they can't tweet. So good now that they are dead.
Okay.
Are you retarded? You know who you also don't hear a lot from? People that disagree with the science, the professionals, the experts, the non-activists. Don't hear a lot from them. Isn't that interesting how these numbers of dead from COVID are inflated? Also kind of like Democrat voters that are dead that are inflated. That's weird.
Weird.
Make legal voting great again. You know who you don't hear a lot from? The dead. The dead.
Anybody that has any information on Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Louisiana Senate candidate smokes marijuana in campaign ad, and I absolutely love this. But I think he's also running as a Democrat. Gary Chambers is running for a U.S. seat in the U.S. Senate representing Louisiana and posted a video to YouTube on Tuesday announcing his campaign. In the video, Chambers is showed smoking marijuana in an outdoor leather armchair. This is every 37 seconds, someone is arrested for possession of marijuana, Chambers said in the new video. Since 2010, state and local police have arrested an estimated 7.3 million Americans for violating marijuana laws, over half of all drug arrests. He continued, black people are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana laws than white people. States waste $3.7 billion enforcing marijuana laws every year. But most of the people police are arrested aren't dealers, but rather people with small amounts of pot just like me. Okay. And he references cinema, so I think this guy's running as a Democrat. But here's the thing. I think that Republicans can take this all the wrong way, but I really don't care. Here's the deal. Republicans need to progress. You need to be in favor of essentially legalizing marijuana. Democrats are beating you on this. You know, I posted about it today on my Instagram, said legalize marijuana, and not just for medicinal purposes, across the board. Yeah. Across the board.
Anything that can be used for medical, if you could use medical marijuana, then just legalize it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other part.
Stop arresting people.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
That's the thing here in like Dallas. Cops no longer do that. They don't give a shit about low-level marijuana possession. Like all my buddies that are cops, like, I don't give a fuck. I just don't care. I'm not charging for that. Half the time we'll just like, all right, go home and smoke it. Don't fucking drive while smoking it. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree. I
do too.
But you know, this guy is doing this, and it's just kind of like Republicans. If you want to compete, start embracing some of these progressive ideas that actually
blunt.
You don't have to smoke weed, but stand behind the legalization of it because it's the freedom to choose for all. So there's a lot of hypocrisy in this. So this guy is doing it the right way. I mean, it's a smart way to go. And it's, you know, it's interesting to see a sitting member of Congress or somebody who's running for Congress, like, she's sitting there just smoking a doobie. It's like, I don't know if I'd go that far with it, but hey, it's on Fox News.
I like it.
I like it. Alec killed a guy.
Alec killed a guy.
Alec killed a guy.
Shot 2 people, 1 bullet.
Oh, marijuana legalization has become a popular campaign for political candidates across the aisles in recent years. Trump even talked about legalizing marijuana, and he never did.
Yeah.
Never did. That wasn't a hill he was going to die on. He should have.
You know, so much going on with people trying to impeach him, and then CNN constantly going on with the PP hoax and Russian collusion. And
I want to piss on you.
I know.
This is coming from Breitbart. White House pursuing Joe Biden communications reboot as polls collapse. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say the Biden administration is polling low, they are polling very, very low.
How low?
How low can you go? They're polling really, really low. The White House is planning a new communication strategy as President Joe Biden faces a total collapse of his approval ratings. Citing senior administration officials, NBC News reported Tuesday, the White House is exploring new ways to communicate directly with the American people. Advertisers expressed the need for Biden to talk to more people directly. Bad move. Very bad move. President Biden is not good at communicating directly to the American people. He is losing it. The other thing Biden just talked about, there's a soundbite going around. It's going viral. Biden even came out and said that he essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, compared the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. to the death of George Floyd. And he said that George Floyd's death had a far greater impact on the world than Martin Luther King's assassination. And I'm sitting here going, he didn't just say that. He did not just say that.
He's like,
he can't be that stupid.
One of the stupidest people.
You're talking about comparing. And look, Martin Luther King Jr. was also no saint. But Martin Luther King Jr. did not get assassinated or murdered while trying to pass a counterfeit bill. Martin Luther King Jr. was not arrested for charges of holding a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. Look, you want to stand with George Floyd, you're standing with a piece of shit human being. You're standing with a fucking drug head. Do your thing, BLM. You want to support him? Do your thing. If that's who you want your martyr to be, have fun. Go down in flames of that narrative, because guess what? Every narrative the DNC or the leftist people spin over time tanks. BLM right now is tanking because they just did this viral tweet. Capitalism doesn't support black people. And black people are going like, yes, it does. Like, what? And it doesn't make sense to me that if you think socialism is the fix to that, well, then if you are for the idea that there is massive levels of discrimination in an inherently racist system, why do you want to empower more white people in government that has more black people or less black people? Why would you empower them to have more control? What? Like, what? This makes no sense to me. I don't get it. All these open Zoomer simps like Hassan Piker that are pushing more socialist programs. Like, so you're wanting government to have more power, more control, and the government is predominantly white? What sense does that make to a black person? Well, no. If it's a white Democrat, that's different. No, it's not.
Those guys they're just posers.
Oh, they're 100% posers.
That's all there is to it.
It's ridiculous.
He doesn't care about it. Like,
he's making so much
He's making so much money. He'll say whatever he wants.
You got to love the fact that he is making millions and then attacking the way that he's making millions. Like, dude, you were such a fucking hypocrite. You were such an idiot. That's the thing I love. Like, I think Hassan would change his tune if, Twitch and these other platforms start saying, by the way, we're reducing your payout.
Yeah.
Your subscriptions are going to drop down to, you're only collecting 10%. Hey, you're giving them the power to do it.
And
what if the government had that
95% of your payout to?
I mean, essentially, if you think about it, the government's already fucking dictating what we can take home through taxes, and that's why it's bullshit.
It is.
So you want to increase that power? Like, oh my god, well, it wasn't. It's socialism has been done the right way. No, yeah. Okay. Just imagine the levels of egotistical, just arrogance that people like Hassan Piker. Like, would you vote for him as a Democrat? Do you really think this guy can set up an operational system of government, a socialist government, and make it work? This is the same guy, and people like him that say, we're the only society where people can't legally brawl with the police. What? You think you should be able to fight the cops? I mean, that's kind of fucking stupid. But, yeah, go with it, bro. Like, these are the people that you really want to set forth legislation and help rule the people? Wow, I'm sorry, but Zoomers that support him are just ridiculously stupid. Like, good grief. I wouldn't trust that dude to tie my shoes. He's that bad. So, if you didn't know this, look, I'm going to share this link in the chat here. This is real. I had this sent to me. Here's the link in the chat. Oh, my God. If you look at the pictures here, what I'm looking at, the article is from Breitbart, and it says, Pete Buttigieg silent on looting from cargo trains in Los Angeles. Let me just describe this for you real quick. We're seeing some train tracks here with a very large train on the right of it and another set of tracks. And on the one set of tracks to the left, where there is no train car, we're talking about massive amounts of litter. Like, there isn't a single spot on the ground that you can see without litter. We're talking about boxes, packages. It's bad. It is really, really bad.
It looks like a third world country.
It looks like a third world country. This is something like you would think that you'd see in like India or China or something like China. And the crazy part about it is they did a massive level cleanup. They said over 30 days ago, and it's already back to this. There apparently is a massive problem with looters jumping on these moving train cars, going into these connexes with bolt cutters and stealing shit. There was a news reporter in the article that was sent to me where the reporter literally leans down, picks up an Amazon package, and the shit's still in there. It's not even opened. Not even opened. So this is crazy to me. Like, what's being done about this? And this is a problem. These are your packages. This is the mail. Like, we've gone way too soft in this country because if it was me, put some armed people on those trains. They try and break in, shoot them. We've gone way too nice. If looters want to come on a train, the question you should ask yourself is, are you wanting to gamble your life to see what's in that Connex? Because you are. Yeah. If I see you, I'm going to shoot you. That's mail. That's that's money, that's goods, that's products, that's business. That's the commerce of which the wheels of this country flow. And these piece of shit fucking looters in LA, they're destroying people's livelihoods. And here's the thing. These companies are going to start paying through the nose for the insurance of these lost packages.
Yep.
And they're going to have to implement something.
Insurance premiums are just
going to go through the fucking roof. And people are going to start canceling.
It's coming from Los Angeles?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or they have to start redirecting a lot of the packages to where it's, I can ensure that, hey, I don't want... Yeah. You got to love it. You just got to love it. This picture, if you're watching on Twitch right now, you'll see it. California is a shithole. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg has not appeared to take any action or issue a formal reaction to reports of looting from cargo trains near Los Angeles, even though he has taken credit for incremental progress on the supply chain crisis. As Breitbart News reported last week, a viral video showed thousands of packages littered across the train tracks along a stretch of the Union Pacific Rail near downtown Los Angeles, the result of thieves looting from the trains as they slow down. And we're just looking at all of this litter. Like, we're talking about tons and tons of litter here. Packages ripped open. It's just insane. Over the weekend, a train derailed near the area where looting has been taking place, though it was not certain that the derailment was related to the cargo debris littered across the tracks. It's like living in a third world country. Like, this is something you would see out of a third world country. This is nuts to me.
Reminds me of Nigeria.
It's bad. Bloomberg News reported Monday that Union Pacific is now considering avoiding Los Angeles County altogether. And its effort. This is what's going to happen. You can't fix this. You're going to start losing money. They're going to start rerouting shit around you.
Mm-hmm.
Union Pacific is now considering avoiding Los Angeles County altogether in its efforts to ship goods across the country, and wrote a letter to left-wing George Soros-backed District Attorney George Gassion demanding better law enforcement. Last week, Secretary Pete Buttigieg appeared in Los Angeles to claim credit for what he claimed were improvements to the supply chain crisis at the ports. He did not mention the rail loading. Of course he's not. He's not going to touch that. He's not going to bring any attention to that until it's actually fixed. It's like, oh, hey, I actually helped with this. Like, okay, bro, whatever.
I know.
Staying at home for 2 months with your gay babies. Because, yeah, makes perfect sense. Outgoing LA Mayor Eric Garcetti praised Buttigieg, claiming that he saved Christmas through the crisis. Oh, my God. I love how they praise themselves. Like, Democrats love themselves some Democrats. The Biden administration is just, oh, my God.
I don't know. He does kind of look like a Who a little bit, doesn't he, from Whoville? Pete Buttigieg?
He does.
I could see that.
This guy just looks gay. He just looks gay. He's got that very effeminate look to him. He's like, no, I can see that. You don't look very masculine.
Don't look like a leader either.
He definitely doesn't look like a leader. No other mentions of the looting appeared on the Department of Transportation website, nor on Buttigieg's Twitter feed. Buttigieg was criticized last year for taking 2 months parental leave without notice as a cargo traffic piled up at the nation's ports. Good job. Good job. Here's the other thing. I hate to say this, but these cargo trains, Pacific Union Rail, can, go around to different locations. The looters are just going to follow them. All they do is it's just kind of like trying to squeegee water uphill. It's going to find a different way. You're going to have to figure out a better way to secure those trains. And I'm telling you, the best way, put armed guards on it, shoot to kill. Get off my train. It would just be that easy. Drop a few fucking bodies. You're good to go. Let people be outraged. Oh, my God. And Democrats would run with this and say, like, they're just trying to make a living by stealing my shit. You'd have your freaking Seth Rogans out there that, when people break into your car, well, your car isn't a part of you. Shut the fuck up, you rich elites. Like, just shut the fuck up. That's so aggravating to me. Marjorie Taylor Greene uses MLK Day to announce a new segregation for the unvaccinated. And here's the thing. I actually agree with her on this one. I do. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene used MLK Day to claim that there was a new segregation for people who were unvaccinated against the coronavirus. This comes from MSN.com. Politicians across the United States honored the work of Martin Luther King Jr. on Monday, but Greene, a Georgia Republican, appeared to equate the segregation faced by black Americans to vaccine requirements in a Getter post. Thanks to the hard work of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and others growing up in Georgia, I've seen the beautiful fruit that blossomed from the civil rights era where segregation ended and equality began, she wrote. Today, I believe we are seeing a new segregation of discrimination beginning, wrongfully forced upon unvaccinated Americans by the tyrants of the Democratic Party. Oh, no. I wouldn't say just the Democratic Party. The Republican Party was guilty of this as well. They were equally as guilty and implicit. Mm-hmm. So I agree with her, though. It is segregation, but it's not based upon race. It's based upon medical qualifications. And I don't support it. I don't think a business or anybody has the right to medically discriminate against anybody. I think it's wrong. But, she's right. She's not wrong on this. She's not. She added, our freedoms come from our almighty God, and we must not let any man take them away. Some cities across the United States have implemented vaccine requirements to enter some public places, including restaurants and gyms, in an attempt to convince people to take the vaccine, which is proven to prevent serious illness from the virus. No, it's not. MSN is lying on this one. The Biden administration also implemented a vaccine mandate for healthcare workers, but the Supreme Court last week blocked a further-reaching federal requirement for large companies to mandate vaccines. This is what doesn't make sense to me. A hospital is a company. It's a company. How can you sit there and say businesses with 100 or more, you can't do these vaccine mandates or any business, but then hospitals can? A hospital's a business. If you think otherwise, you're an idiot.
Oh, it's a business.
It's 100% a business. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at. This comes to us from CNN. Children account for less than 0.2% of COVID-19 deaths in the U.S., according to CDC data. Remember what I said? How CNN and the rest of these liberal outlets are going to change what they are publishing to make themselves suddenly appear more centrist-based? This is what they're doing. CNN is publishing this in the midst of the vaccines being pushed on children. CNN, of all places, published it. Again, Children account for less than 2% or 0.2% of COVID-19 deaths in the U.S. according to CDC data. Less than 0.2% of COVID-19 deaths in the United States have been among children according to data from the U.S. Center for Disease Control. Okay.
And to counter that point, Michigan undercounted by about 30%.
Yeah, you got to love that. Children account for about 1 in 5 people in the U.S. population overall, but about 1 in every 645 COVID-19 deaths and 1 in every 6 COVID-19 cases since the start of the pandemic. There have also been about 1,100 deaths and about 8.3 million cases among children, according to CDC data. CNN also just published an article where it said the majority of COVID-19 deaths are attributed to those over 65 years of age, which has scientifically been proven that you've got weaker immune systems, compromised immune systems. So all these vaccination bullshit things were a lie from the get-go. I'm not in any of these categories where I'm at just a greater risk of dying from COVID-19, according to the data. And again, CDC and CNN, again, they're trying to go more centrist. Like, oh, we've been saying this all along. No, you have not. Rachel Maddow has never apologized. If you get the vaccine, you won't get COVID. You never apologized. She was not censored. She wasn't pulled off of air. She was not accused of spreading misinformation.
Nope.
Nothing.
None of it.
Nothing. You got to love it. There have been more than 200,000 COVID-19 deaths among people age 85 and older. Now drop that down to 65. And again, that number is inflated, rather. It's ridiculous. Another article from CNN. School closures can harm kids' mental and academic health. Experts say how families can help. What? CNN pushed this hard for the last 2 years. Do your part. Stay home. Isolate. Don't go out in public. Don't do none of that. You're going to die.
I know.
And now CNN saying school closures can harm kids' mental and academic health. Experts say how families can help. No, CNN. No. You don't get to publish this. You don't get to take this position. You took the wrong side of history. Now you deal with that. You stand accountable for what bullshit propaganda you spewed. This is what CNN's going to try and do to right their wrongs. That's all they're going to do. Because in case you haven't seen, the science is changing again. The narrative is changing again. And it's going more toward the centrist/right. That's weird to me. Weird. You bunch of lying hypocrites. Lying hypocrites. All they're trying to do as this pandemic draws to a close, and it's coming to an end slowly but surely. Yep. They're going to sit there and they're going to try and align themselves back centrist.
The best thing that could have happened is this Omicron variant.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody got it. It's a mild version.
Yep. It's building up the antibodies.
Yeah.
We are coming closer to herd immunity.
That's it. I mean, once you get past this point, but that's it.
Yeah.
There's no other.
CDC already came out and also said, if you had COVID, you have natural antibodies.
I don't even care what they say.
Yeah, exactly. I don't trust what they say.
Nothing they say or anybody else in the government. I don't trust anything that they say.
I think this is definitely a feather in the cap of when Milton Friedman talked about the abolishment of the FDA. Yeah. The FDA dropped the ball hard. The CDC has dropped the ball hard.
They're scumbags.
These organizations are directly responsible to far more lives being ruined by your sitting here like fear-mongering, fear porn.
Small businesses.
100%.
And then
100%.
made billions and billions of dollars themselves.
Big pharma fucking cashed in.
That's it.
Corporations like Walmart, Target,
Amazon.
Lowe's fucking made bank because of the CDC and the FDA.
Crushed small businesses. Yeah.
So,
and then they want to raise taxes.
Uh-huh.
And then they took in a record amount of taxes in the first quarter of 2021.
Yeah.
And then overspent. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, guys.
Just this is where we're at.
You suck.
You want, Democrat Zoomers out there wanting to push socialism. Do you realize this was all at the hands of the governments, being at state or federal level, and you want to empower them to do more, to have more control? Yeah, what we need is less control.
Less
you should never go to the federal government for an answer regarding this. The federal government's not even doing shit at the border either. They're doing nothing to protect the sovereignty of America. Nothing. Instead, all Biden does is essentially insult Border Patrol and fires them. Puts their heads on the chopping block. These are not American leaders, ladies and gentlemen. These people are essentially spiraling America down the toilet because they don't have the balls to do what's right. Because instead what they do is they listen to echo chambers like Twitter. These voices don't exist. Delete Twitter, the outrage goes away. Delete Facebook, the outrage goes away. It doesn't exist. We have created these echo chambers of, here's the thing, like, I love this. Like, I could come out there and say something so fucking off the wall, racist, homophobic, xenophobic, whatever. It doesn't exist if I put this phone down and it goes away. It doesn't exist. People don't realize that. People like Dave Chappelle do. We talk about, like, because Twitter ain't fucking real. In the years that we've been doing this, you know how many haters I've met face to face? Zero. None. Viral videos out the ass, met zero. Who gives a fuck what these people on social media have to say? Stop bending the knee to these people.
Seen a lot of people come up to you and shake your hand, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Want a picture?
Behar. Joy Behar. You want to talk about canceling, motherfucker. She should be canceled. God. Jesus. Joy Behar. If Republicans are back, and you want to talk about a liberal, middle-aged white woman that needs to shut the fuck up. She is so stupid. Her, Whoopi, the rest of these people are so stupid.
Like,
you want to talk about the most uneducated? Oh,
yeah.
the most, absolutely. They are so spoiled. The same ones that say you shouldn't have guns or walls. Meanwhile, we live behind gated communities guarded by people with guns. These are the rich elites. Joy Behar says, and get this, she has the clit balls to say this. If Republicans are back in power, they will start censoring journalists. They will destroy us. This is more fear-mongering. This is exactly what the left does. The Republicans, if they're in charge, they're going to put you in concentration camp. They took our terms. What?
This is coming off Project Veritas being raided by the FBI.
Or the freaking social media that essentially has censored more conservatives, and it's been proven time and time. Are you fucking kidding me? The one thing I will give the GOP is they're not for censorship.
No.
They're not. I don't know where you're getting this. I don't know where you're getting this from. But this is what people like Joy Behar do. They try and energize the voter base by pushing out legitimate fear porn propaganda. If Republicans take back charge, they're going to enslave the blacks. They're going to make the Chinese work on the railroads again. Why do you think Joe Biden is making the comparison that if you don't support his progressive voter ID shit like that, being against it, then you're on the side of Jefferson Davis? They always make it about race. They always make it about authoritarian suppression.
Yeah.
When if you look at their own party, that's what they've done.
That's exactly what they've done.
That's 100. Everything the Democrats say is what they do. Yeah. What they accuse the right of being, they themselves more times than not actually are.
You have Elizabeth Warren doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Cultural appropriation.
Trying to keep minorities from voting.
Yeah.
This is the same lady.
Yeah.
Who everybody knows lied about.
Is a liar. Yeah.
She's a liar.
Stacey Abrams.
Still.
Yeah, the election wasn't stolen for Trump, but mine was.
Yep.
Shut the fuck up, you fat cow. You idiot, you morons are just like, you want to talk about the outright blatant hypocrisy that comes from the cockshees of these liberal women. You need to shut the fuck up and know your place. You need a man in your life, realistically. Apparently, you need a man to educate you. Actually, that's a lie. Because then you have Democrat men that are no better. Like, what the fuck? Know your place. You morons. Like, Jesus Christ. I wouldn't even trust them in the kitchen. I wouldn't.
Oh, hell no. They're probably poisoning you.
Stop trying to suppress me. Shut the fuck up and take the fat pills out of your mouth, you fat bitch. Shut the fuck up. Christ almighty. You gotta love this, though. You gotta love this. This is so ridiculous. Their place should not be, these Democrat women here, your place should not be in front of a microphone because you've lost all credibility. Get somebody else out there that actually has the common sense to make some points that are at least founded in, I would say at least, I'll be liberal here, at least 50% in fact, at least that. But these morons on The View, oh, it's like a bunch of middle-aged, menopausal, cackling little hands. Just, oh my God.
It's true. All of it.
It's ridiculous. These women are just so, like, gossips. I don't know how friggin' McCain, his daughter, I don't know how the hell she lasted on that program. I really don't.
She's just as bad as
she is just as bad, yeah.
My father.
Riding on the coattails of your father. Your father was a fucking rhino. He was a sellout. Your father.
Warhawk.
Yeah, 100%. Joy Behar told her co-host Tuesday on ABC's The View that if Republicans got into power, they would start censoring journalists. Whoopi Goldberg said, "This is part of the big plan to control what happens in America, I believe." What happens in America? If you take those voting rights away, people are going to be okay, this is what they do. What voting rights are you talking about? Give me legitimate examples. Stop making these blanketed generic statements. They're trying to go after voting rights. Which ones? Tell me that, Whoopi. Tell me that. Which ones are you referring to, please? You're talking about essentially making it more difficult to vote by saying you had to provide proof that you are a citizen. That's not removing voting rights. That's protecting the sanctity of the voting process, which also benefits you. But Democrats don't want to have this because essentially they've seen how they won in the past. So many fucking dead Democrats. God help me when I die because apparently I'm going to vote Democrat.
Oh, Jesus.
How can you be against ensuring the sanctity of the voting process is protected? Saying, hey, you got to provide proof of ID to vote. You got to do it to drive. You got to do it to go get to a hospital. For everything, legitimately everything.
Get into a bar.
But this you have a problem with because you know if this gets passed, it's going to essentially cripple the DNC. Because you don't have the voter turnout that Biden claims to say. You're getting, this is why the New York City, the new mayor says, oh, now illegals can come vote. You are trying to flood the market with illegals because you're sitting there giving them all taxpayer-funded government subsidies, which people like me are saying, hey, stop giving my money to people that aren't fucking American citizens.
Yeah.
You don't contribute. You shouldn't have access. Like, they want a national welfare state is what Democrats want. They will bankrupt this country. They will bankrupt this country. And they don't care because you know why? It doesn't impact them. It doesn't affect them. It affects you, the people, because they're just increasing your taxes. You're taking less money home and they're keeping more of it to give it to people that don't want to fucking work. Or they take that money and they send it back home to places like Mexico, Guatemala, Haiti. We are bleeding here. We have a border issue. But I'm sorry, these Democrats that are favoring giving money to illegals, you should be strung up. You should be tried for treason in America. How anti-American is that to say, come to America illegally and we will give you money? We will even allow you to vote. What other country does that? We should stop being nice to these people. These are anti-Americans. These people are disgusting to me. Corrupt politicians that don't give a flying fuck about American interests. Mm-mm. They care more about... These are globalists. Mm-hmm. These are globalists. A one-world organization. What the fuck is wrong with these people? What the fuck is wrong with people that vote for them? Like you... Man, dude, I can't get it through my head how anyone in New York would vote for one of these shills. I don't get it. And honestly, I think it's because they're not paying attention to what's going on. It's like, you voted for this guy who's showcasing high levels of nepotism, excuse me. He puts his brother in charge, saying, oh, I'm doing it because he's black and he's going to fight white supremacy. What white supremacy are you talking about? Give me examples, please. They're going to silence journalists because, they're trying to take voting rights away. They will never give you examples. They use these blanketed terms because it sounds good. These are dog whistles. These are buzzwords. They will never give you their precise statement. They won't do it because they can't. They can't. They know they can't. Call them on their bullshit. Push back on them like Maxine Waters says. Go to their group meetings and say, what are you talking about? Like we said with Crenshaw, I want examples. Mm-hmm. Give me don't give me generics. Give me verbatim examples. That's what I want. Hold these people's feet to the fire, and if they can't, you crucify them to the cross of bullshit.
Yep.
I'm so fed up with this.
Yeah, all these politicians, it's all the same.
These people are ridiculous. Republicans take charge, they're going to censor us. No, they're not. But all we've seen is the censorship of Republicans on social media. Are you fucking serious? Do you really think, honestly, Joy Behar, you fucking cunt, do you really think that Republicans would stand by if Republican leaders were voted in and said, we are now going to censor the left? Do you think Republicans would stand for that? Get the fuck out of here. No, they wouldn't. Mm-mm. No, they would not. You can't be serious with this. But this is what they do. This is how they charge their voter base. Yeah. And you're going to see more and more vitriol come out of Democrat mouthpiece cows like these people. Because come midterms, I'm telling you, they're going to double down. Look, if you were a liberal, say, for example, one of your buddies shares this podcast. Look, I get that we disagree on a lot of issues out there, but there's something you need to understand and realize. The closer we get to midterms, the more divisive and racially charged statements these Democrats are going to make. You need to see through this. You need to see through the bullshit. They are lying to you. They are trying to pull the wool over your eyes. They are trying to accuse the right of being racist. Anyone that goes over to the right, they've called an Uncle Tom. We saw it with Kanye. We saw it with more black people that said, hey, I'm no longer voting liberal, I'm voting conservative. They freaking demonized them, called them race traitors. And we're sitting here saying, wait, isn't this the very same thing that you've accused the right of doing, you now are doing? What are you talking about? If there were no such thing as double standards, Democrats would have no standards at all. None. These Joy Behars, these Whoopi Goldbergs, these middle-aged morons are lying to you. They are mouthpieces by the DNC group. Like, they are getting paid massive amounts to say this bullshit.
They're well past middle-aged.
These people are just, they're horrible human beings.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Paul, this is from Breitbart. Paul Begala, Democrats' problem is not that they have bad leaders. They have bad followers. You got to love this. This is a real statement. Democratic strategist Paul Begala on Monday reacted to Andrea Waters King, the daughter-in-law of Martin Luther King Jr., saying that President Joe Biden has put more effort in getting infrastructure legislation passed than voting rights legislation. King told Politico, and here's the other thing, like, look, King told Politico. Politico is another bullshit leftist thing. What we've seen with President Biden is what happens when he puts his full force and power behind an issue like infrastructure. What we want to see is that same power and passion being put behind voting rights. What are you talking about? Look, I don't give a fuck who your grandfather. This is the other thing. She is the daughter-in-law of Martin Luther. I'm sorry. I don't know what credit that gives you. It's like, hey, Martin Luther King Jr., I touched his coat once, and now what I say has validity. What? You're riding on the coattails of something that you didn't do. Martin Luther King Jr. did. You didn't. So I'm sorry. You being a king, I get why it holds some weight. But when you say something stupid like this, like, what voting rights are you talking about? It sounds good. Republicans are going to jump on this, but it's going to be kind of also stupid. You know, Joe Biden has done more for infrastructure than he has voting rights. What are you talking about? What do you want to see done for voting rights? Tell me what right a black person in America does not have that a white person does when it comes to voting specifically. Please. And they will never list anything for you. Because if they could, they would. Because if they did, that would be pushed to the forefront of every fucking Democratic policy, because those rich white liberals would jump all over that. Because all they're going to do is basically, when they use it, as like, hey, look how friendly I am to the blacks. Look how friendly I am to the Chinese. Look how wonderful and magnificent I am, because I am the white savior of the minorities.
You're welcome, peasants.
You're welcome, you little minority peasants. They would jump all over this. But you can't list anything, so they have nothing to go on. Except using the sound bites. Hey, requiring voter ID is racist. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is Democratic Playbook 101. List anything you can as being racist if it goes contrary to your political narrative. That's all this is. And it's gone so off the rails of common sense. So off the rails. How Democrats can't see this, I really don't get it. But at the same token, I've seen Republicans do the same thing. Like, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at a congressional representative that is running right now, when you're looking at and they say pro-Trump, all you're telling me is you're a loyalist that exists in an echo chamber. If you are on your knees begging for that Trump endorsement, all that tells me is that you need Daddy Trump to bless off on you. This is the problem in the GOP right now. Trying to seek out that Trump endorsement. Wow. I don't give a fuck if Trump endorses you or not. I want to know what you're running on. But this is how stupid GOP people are. It's almost like that NRA seal of approval. The NRA are a bunch of goddamn sellouts. These are some money-hungry motherfuckers. They don't give a fuck about the 2A. But if I get the Trump endorsement, suddenly that makes you a good politician. What? I don't get this. I mean, I do. I get it. This is echo chamber 101. Sit there and say, well, I've got Trump's blessing. Oh, well, then I guess you'd be good for Congress. What?
He's a kingmaker.
He's a kingmaker. And I've said this before, and Republicans are, hopefully some are listening. But when you give Trump that much power over your group of people, what the fuck? Instead of sitting there saying
of these other politicians out there.
I mean, absolutely.
It's their years and decades of failure that allowed Trump to come in and do what he did.
Yeah. I'm not saying Trump's a bad person. Please don't take it that way. I think Trump did pretty damn good in his presidency.
I think he's probably the best president.
But we've had in a while. Yeah. But the one thing I will not do is bend the knee to say that I need Trump's approval. I mean, don't get me wrong. Trump has the weight. He's got the push.
I don't know. I almost think that you got to do it at this point. Because,
I think the tides are turning.
Because the Lindsey Grahams and these types of politicians have screwed other potential politicians who want to just do the right thing.
Yeah.
So,
but now it's everything. It's pandering for the Trump endorsement. And if you do, so I don't agree with that. To me, it's kind of like that should not be the metric by which you vote for somebody. If you are,
it shouldn't be, but
it is, and that's a sad state of affairs we have because people are too fucking stupid to see that. Yeah. It's kind of like, if your metric by weighing a good political candidate versus a bad one is by who Trump endorses, that's kind of dumb. Look, I get it. But I think your metric should be like, how in line with the Constitution are they? Because that's what they're essentially going to represent.
Yeah.
If they're not in line with that Constitution, you shouldn't be supporting them. Left, center, or right, it doesn't matter. So if somebody has a pro-Trump endorsement and these people are not constitutionally sound, I'm not voting for them.
Yeah, that should be just the baseline. Like, okay,
where do they stand?
I'm a constitutionalist, all right? I want
100%.
Border security.
Yeah.
All right, I want low taxes and fewer regulations and a smaller government. And that should be blanketed.
And Trump was not pro-small government. Trump was not pro-freaking not spending. Trump was not pro-2A.
But he was a good jobs president.
He was.
It was the lowest unemployment in the history of the country. Cut taxes.
So people, I'm not trying to.
You could see that his tax cut. Majority of people got a tax.
And that's the point that I'm trying to make, though, is that I'm not all or nothing. It's issue by issue. When people try and take these Trump endorsements like it's everything, you're wrong. You are 100% wrong. But we have a lot of voters out there that are not educated on this. They are like single issue voters. Well, he stands for the Second Amendment. I'm voting for him.
Yeah.
What's his other policies? What else does he stand for?
I mean, I was really interested to see how his second term would really flush out as far as.
I wish Trump would have won it again. I mean, I'm not saying that if Trump runs again in 2024.
Had China not unleashed this virus upon the world, I think we would have seen an economic prosperity like we've never seen before.
And that would have definitely taken a lot of star power away from the Democrats because essentially they said the first 4 years of Trump was the remnants of the Obama administration's economic push. It wasn't. It wasn't. No, there was not.
Yeah, no.
But if
Obama
Trump had 4 more years, that excuse would have went just a far away because essentially
he was the second. Obama was the second worst president.
He was horrible.
Joe Biden is the worst president.
Joe Biden, I think, is honestly going to walk away with the world's worst president or America's worst president.
It's terrible.
His rating, year 1, this dude is polling worse than Trump did. Fuck me running. That means your own side is not standing with you. Like they're just kind of like, let him go.
And that's what the Democratic media.
Oh yeah.
So,
bro, even the MSM is turning on Biden. That's bad. Like that is really bad. Like as
soon as this douchebag gets in the office, tax prices go up. Like
he cuts 10,000 jobs from the Keystone Pipeline, and he's talking about doing other ones. Like
all the food in the grocery stores starting to disappear. There's supply chain issues.
Going to Walmart here, like there are still so many shelves that are unstocked. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like wow.
Okay. That's what happens when Democrats get back in power. That's what happens.
Socialist just hasn't been tried the right way. Okay.
I'm telling you.
Oh, my God. Well, that concludes this episode of the All-American Savage Show podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you listening in today. Again, this episode is brought to you by ShellShockCBD.com. We've just released the Delta 9 gummies. You can check these out. They have THC in them. We have Delta 8. We have products that will help you sleep. We have the Delta 8 vapes. We have hemp tea. We have everything there. Check out your Shell Shock needs there at shellshockcbd.com. You can support the show that way. Hey, if you subbed on Twitch, really appreciate that. I'm sorry I couldn't shout it out. But again, big thank you to people out there that are subscribing to our channel on Twitch. It's the John Burke on Twitch. And actually being subscribers to the channel by supporting us financially. We can't thank you enough for doing that. You help us continue to do this also by supporting shellshockcbd.com. And hey, all we can say is if you like the podcast, if it makes you happy, if it helps educate you a little bit, if you enjoy the interviews, we don't charge for this. There is no paywall. We do this for free because Josh and I are passionate about this. We're passionate for the truth. We're passionate about supporting the Constitution. We're passionate about supporting America. So again, we can't thank you enough for this. If you've gained anything from this, share it with your friends. Tell your friends about the podcast. Help us spread our voice. Go check out Shell Shock CBD. Support us on Twitch. We can't thank you enough. And until then, we'll probably see you tomorrow. Probably a bit earlier, right here. I should have said, again, we are not going to be streaming on Facebook and YouTube anymore. I did it accidentally today, but it's only going to be Twitch. You can find the podcast every day on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spotify. We can get them for free there at All American Savage Show, or just type in John Burke. It'll pop up. Ladies and gentlemen, you got anything to add, my man?
I love you guys so much.
Love you so much. Thanks for listening, and as always, you stay savage, America.